Hello, football fans. Yes, the NFL is back. And what an opening week it was. And I still can't believe how it began. It began with, of course, the Rams took the field and celebrated their championship, their hard-earned championship, in front of their fans at SoFi Stadium as they hosted the Bills, who waltzed in and burned it down. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I knew entering this season the Bills kind of meant business. They entered the season as Super Bowl favorites, which means there's pretty much very little room for error now. This is it. They have to do it this time. And it looks like they're off to a good start. They trounced the Rams. Stafford had a terrible game. And 3 interceptions. But it gets crazier. Because the other half of Super Bowl 56, the Cincinnati Bengals, opened their season at home against their hated rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know that Cincinnati crowd was amped up after all. The Bengals were just coming off their first Super Bowl appearance in 33 years. And they nearly won that Super Bowl too. So the crowd was anxious to see what their team's going to do for an encore. It was pretty shaky. Apparently Joe Burrow found out about Matt Stafford's 3 interceptions, so he decided to commit 5 turnovers of his own. I just couldn't believe what the Super Bowl quarterbacks were doing. But despite all this, it wasn't a blowout. It was pretty close. Matter of fact, Cincinnati actually had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation. And after so much bad luck, Ja'Marr Chase, their best kept secret, scores a touchdown, ties at 20, but the extra point's blocked. So it's the second Sunday in a row where a team goes all the way on a improbable drive, and then the extra point's blocked. Of course, we saw this happen in college football with LSU, and it's almost kind of fitting because remember, Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase, ex-LSU Tigers. So, game went to overtime, and that's where the insanity continued and doubled down, mind you. Pittsburgh went 3 out, but the Bengals managed to get deep in field goal range. 29-yard field goal. I got, well, they're gonna get out of this with a win. McPherson's kick is hooked, and the first thing I'm thinking is that crazy game the Bengals played against the Packers last year, where nobody was making kicks. But Pittsburgh's turn was up, and they get to field goal range, 55-yarder. I'm going, well, they got this. And the kick, it was crazy. It looked like it was going to miss, then it looks like it's going to get through, and then, boom, off the upright. No good. So overtime continues. Cincinnati has the ball, but just when they reach midfield, Burrow fumbles, and that messes up things. So they punt with 15 seconds left on the game clock. That would be a big mistake. Those 15 seconds will play the role. It was just enough time for the Steelers to get to field goal range. Chris Boswell had a game-winning kick, and this time he made it 53 yards in the final seconds. So the full 70 minutes was played, and Pittsburgh won. This was not the only game to go to full 70 minutes. The Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans played the full 70, but nothing was settled. We have a tie already. Indy, it was crazy those last 2 minutes of overtime. Blankenship had a chance to win it with a field goal, went wide right, and then Houston only got to midfield, and then they decided to punt. And Indy got it with 2 middle seconds left in the entire game, and they tried some trickery and nothing. So the final score: Colts 20, Texans 20. First tie in the history of the Houston Texans, who are playing in their 21st season, and it's the 3rd time in the last 5 years that the opening week sees a tied game. It almost had 2. Elsewhere in that early window, the Washington Commanders won their first game as the Washington Commanders. It was kind of retribution for Carson Wentz because it was against the Jaguars. We all remember what happened that final week. Carson Wentz, as quarterback of the Colts, he lost badly to the Jaguars, and Indianapolis ended up eliminated because Pittsburgh won earlier that week. So earlier that day, earlier at that same time. But anyway, Philly beat the Lions. What would be a high-scoring shootout? Atlanta blew another double-digit lead. It must be Sunday. And the Bears beat the Trey Lance 49ers. He's not the answer, Niners fans. He is not the answer. I don't know what possessed Niner fans to actually think let's bench the quarterback who A is the only one who knows how to beat Rodgers, the best quarterback since Joe Montana, and B the quarterback that got you to Super Bowl 54. Let's bench him and start this as the late great Bobby Heenan would call him, ham and egger. They think Trey Lance is the answer. He lost to the Bears. Now I knew this was going to be tough I know this was going to be tough for the Niners, but I figured even with Lance starting and Kittle out, they beat the Bears. Trey Lance sucks. He's awful, and all he's done is upset me because one of our rivals won at his expense. Plain and simple, if you can't beat the Chicago Bears, who are basically the New York Jets of the NFC, you shouldn't be in the NFL. And if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm laughing my ass off. If I'm the 49ers, I'm getting down on my knees and begging Jimmy to start again. Because if Jimmy starts, they blow the Bears out. They do. So yeah, speaking of quarterbacks who are getting disrespected by their teams, let's talk about the man wearing this jersey. So, week 1 did not go our way. We were defeated by the Vikings somehow, because as usual, Aaron Rodgers was the only one that did things right. You know, and the receivers were just, and especially Watson, he dropped an easy touchdown pass. See, this is why Rodgers got on these receivers to do better. Yet, what did the biased media do? Oh, he's picking on the receivers. He's being a prick. He needs to leave them alone. You know, like I said, I'm used to it. I am very used to it. I am very numb to how biased the NFL media is against Aaron Rodgers. It still amazes me, but I'm just numb to it. I don't stress about it anymore. He's picking on the receivers. All he's doing is what a quarterback is supposed to do, motivate his players. If Tom Brady did this, they would say, well, that's great leadership. That's what quarterbacks are supposed to do. And please don't get me started on quarterbacks who look like me. If any quarterbacks who look like me did what Rodgers did, oh boy, it would be much worse. Black quarterbacks should be told they should stay in their place. But anyway, so that was our first game in the post-Davante era. Speaking of Davante, he did not get a win either with the Raiders, but he had some great numbers. He had 141 receiving yards and a touchdown in his Raiders debut, so that's not bad. They faced the Chargers in a rematch of that classic that ended the 2021 season. We all know that game, the game that had everybody's hearts in Pittsburgh racing. The game that came this close, ended in a tie, and having a whole bunch of Steelers fans just angry, but it worked out. Daniel Carson with that field goal in that game, and the Raiders got in. The Chargers were eliminated, and the Steelers were in. That was a crazy ending. But the Chargers took this one. They got the win they should have had last year. But, yeah. And, of course, Sunday Night Football. Tampa Bay beat the Cowboys. Even worse, Dak Prescott got injured. thumb injury. He had surgery on it this week, so the story is it's 6 to 8 weeks he'll be out, though Jerry Jones wants him back after 4 weeks. Ambitious, aren't we? Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson returns to Seattle. Before I mention one quarterback playing his former team, Baker faced off against the Browns, and that didn't work out well. And unfortunately, didn't work out for Russell in Seattle either. I thought they were going to trounce what's left of the Seahawks, and that didn't happen. Seattle won 17-16, and we all know the story. Nathaniel Hackett. He decides instead of getting 5 yards for the first down, he decides to cut about 50 seconds from the clock, leaving 20 left, and have Brandon McManus kick a 64-yard field goal. Obviously, that didn't go well, and that had me really thinking. I think Nathaniel Hackett was really the one that called that fourth and goal field goal in that NFC Championship. We blamed LaFleur for this for over a year. It was Hackett, had to have been. So Seattle gets that win. They're the only NFC West team to win, and that caps up a very insane opening week. So that's week 1. That's my recap of week 1, and if this opening week was any indication, this season is going to be very fun. We should all get our seatbelts fastened. Anyway, so that's my recap of week 1. I just want to say I'm going to try something different. It's going to be like a borderline, well, not a simulcast, but I do have a backup YouTube account other than this one. My Hardcore Puckhead is my main one, but I also have one under my real name, and I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it on that too. So I'm going to put this video up on both accounts, and in both descriptions will be. In the description, in both cases, will be my story on Vocal, recapping week 1. It'll be in the description below. Check it out when you can. So that's my recap of week 1. Here's something we have to look forward to in the second week of the season. Week 2 kicks off with an AFC West matchup between the Chargers and the Chiefs in Kansas City. That'll be Amazon Prime Video's official NFL debut. They did air a preseason game this year, but this will be the beginning of the Amazon Prime Video era. Pittsburgh did win their first game post Big Ben. They look to go 2-0 when they face the Patriots. The Rams look to rebound from that bad home loss. They were made at home against the Atlanta Falcons. About Pittsburgh, I forgot to mention T.J. Watt got injured in that game. He had a torn pec. The news came out that he would not need surgery and he'll be out for about 6 weeks. Of course, Dallas without Dak, they'll host the Cincinnati Bengals, who are also looking to rebound. The first place, Houston Texans at 0-1. They face the 0-1 Denver Broncos. Sunday Night Football is Packers Bears, so basically a bye for the Packers. And we got 2 Monday night games, one on ESPN, one on ABC. It's Titans Bills on ESPN, and Eagles and Vikings on ABC. So that's my recap of week 1. If you like the story, click the like button. Quick subscribe on both my channels if you want more. And I'll be back with I will recap week 2 next week. I'll be right back on YouTube again with a recap of the weeks 8 through 14 of the CFL season. Get Canadian football fans prepared for the final 7 weeks. So stay tuned.